In section 6.1, we're going to talk about frequency and histograms. In the middle of the page, read the essential understanding and pay special attention to the vocab words frequency and frequency table. So here we have all of the numbers of home runs by the batters in a local run derby. We have to make a frequency table that represents this. So first we have to have a title. So we could say home run results. And you can write this in the solve it problem at the top. So home runs. Let's think about our lowest number. Our lowest number is 2. And our highest number, it looks like, is 17. So let's do intervals of 2 to 5, 6 to 9, 10 to 13, and 14 to 17. Now these are our intervals. So we start going through, and so we count 2 to 5. How many of them are from 2 to 5? Well, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4. And you could also go through and make tally marks like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then do tally marks. 6 through 9, there's 4. 10 through 13, there's 3 of them. And 14 through 17, there's 3 as well. That right there is your frequency table. So what I did were intervals of 4. These are all intervals, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. These are all intervals of 4. Notice I kept all the intervals the same. Now, the got it problem at the bottom of the page, 371. So then it says, what is a frequency table that uses intervals of 5? So if we did intervals of 5, this would be home runs. And this is the frequency, and I forgot to label that on my other graph. So this is the frequency, and this was the home runs. So if I want intervals of 5, that means I'd start at 2, and it'd be 2, 3, 4, 5, we go through 6. The next one would be 7 through 11. The next one will be 12 through 16, and the last one will be 17 through 21. So if you count them up, there are 4 from 2 to 6. 5 from 7 to 11, 12 through 16 home runs, there are 4, and there's only 1 that goes from 17 to 21. So that would be intervals of 5 in making a frequency table. So if we look at example number 1 on the top of page 372, use the data of marathon times in minutes to make a frequency table. So your title could be marathon times. And this would be minutes. And a frequency table always shows the frequency. So if I look here, the smallest one looks about, let's see, 135. And the highest is about 246. So I'm going to go by, you can go by 10s, you can go by 20s. I'm going to go by 20. So I'm going to do 130 to 149. And you could have something different. Then 150 to 169. 170 to 189. You could go by 25. You could go by 50. 190 to 209. 210 to 229. And then 230 to 249. So if I count them up, the frequency table would show a 1, a 2, a 2, a 3, a 2, and a 2. And there you go. We just made ourselves a frequency table. Pretty easy. Now example number, the second example we're doing, but it's the got it problem. So we're going to do the got it problem on page 372. Read the gray box at the top that talks about a histogram. It says a histogram is a graph that can display data from a frequency table. A histogram has one bar for each interval. The height of each bar shows the frequency of the data in the interval it represents. There are no gaps between the bars. The bars are usually of equal width. Basically, you're drawing a bar graph. That's all you're doing. So let's do the got it problem at the bottom of page 372. So we're talking about finishing times in seconds for the race shown below. What is a histogram? So I'm just going to title it finishing times. Now we only have positive values. So at the bottom we're talking about times. And the times, it's more importantly, you need to put seconds. And then over here on the side, we have the frequency. So if you look, we go from approximately 80 to 105, looks like the highest. So that's not much. So let's go by tens. So I'm going to go from 80 to 89, 90 to 99. These are intervals of 10, and 100 to 109. So if you count them up, how many are from 80 to 89? Well, it looks like 6. So, and notice one thing here. I went from 80 to 89, 90 to 99, 100 to 109. I could draw my little break here because I didn't start with 0 to 9, 10 to 19. So 80 to 89 would go up to 6. 90 to 99, there are 5. So notice I don't leave a space between the bars, and the widths of the bars are about the same. 100 to 109, there are 2. Whoops, that's a really bad bar. There you go. You just made yourself a histogram. Now go to the bottom of page 373 where it talks about histograms. It says that you can describe histograms in terms of their shape. 3 types are shown below. The first one, if the bars are roughly the same height, then the histogram is uniform. If the vertical line can divide the histogram into 2 parts that are close to mirrored images, then the histogram is symmetric. Then it says if the histogram has one peak that is not in the center, then the histogram is skewed. So for example, look at practice A at the bottom. Practice A, 5 and 6. Number 5. Is it uniform, symmetric, or skewed? Well, they're definitely not all the same height, so they're not uniform. They're not split down the center. The center bar does not split them up, so it's not symmetric, so it would be skewed. Look at number 6. Are they all uniform? No. Does the center bar kind of split them in half? Kind of goes up and then back down? Absolutely. So number 6, it would be symmetric. In problem number 4 on page 375, you're going to be making a cumulative frequency table. At the top of the page, it says, a cumulative frequency table shows the number of data values that lie in or below a given interval. For example, if the cumulative frequency for the interval 70 through 79 is 20, then there are 20 data values less than or equal to 79. So we're going to start with the got it problem. It says, what is a cumulative frequency table that represents the data below? So if you look at it, the lowest number is 0. The highest number is, looks like 15. So we could start with, let's say, intervals of 5. We could do 5. So we're going to start with our table. Now, a cumulative frequency table has 3 columns. The first one is the interval, whatever we're talking about. So sometimes it's home runs, sometimes it's whatever we're talking about, like number of text messages. It's the title of whatever we're doing. Since this one just says data, we're just going to call it intervals. This is your frequency, how many times each of them occurs in that interval. And this one is going to be your cumulative frequency. So we're going to do intervals of 5. So 0 to 4 is 5 values. Then we can do 5 to 9. Then let's do 10 to 14 and 15 to 19. Now remember, you can do whatever intervals you want. But notice their intervals are all the same amount of numbers. So 0 to 4, count them up. How many numbers are from 0 to 4? It'd be 6. how many numbers are from 5 to 9? There are 4 numbers that are between 5 and 9. From 10 to 14, there are 4 numbers, and from 15 on up, we have 2. So here's how it works. Cumulative means it keeps adding itself. So cumulative, we start at 6. But then we have 6 plus how many numbers from this one? So 6 plus 4, that gives me 10 total numbers we've put in our frequency table. Then we take the 10 and add the 4 here. That gives me 14. And then 14 plus the 2 gives me 16. So that tells me I have 16 total values. That's all you do. A cumulative frequency table is just adding the number in the frequency column previously to that.